Hey guys, Bloody Vintage here. Just wanted to do a quick video on the US Marine Corps M1941 upper pack. It's also called the part of the 782 gear. Officially, at least according to some of my books here, they are officially referred to as Haversack Model 1941. So you can call it kind of anything along those lines. I guess it's maybe the proper nomenclature according to my book here, which is given to me by a friend, by Tim Morin. That's not the name, but the book, just so you know, if you want to check that out. So anyways, let's take a look here because there's a lot of different upper packs here. I've been lucky enough to kind of accumulate one of kind of every type. That being said, not the depot stuff as much, so you're not going to see many rare things here, but just to give you a general overview. The first one, because you're going to notice all mine are roll tops, which is semi-easy to find, a little bit more affordable, but really the dog ear flap ones are the most sought after and rare. So this one is actually a reproduction I bought from another reenactor, but at least this will be a good example to show you because it's pretty true to form. So if you look at the 782 pack, I'm just going to go over this one in detail first. So basically, yeah, you have your two straps at the front. You have your M1910 hook carrier at the top, usually used for your entrenching tool. Then another strap at the top to hold your blanket roll or poncho. Another strap at the bottom to secure the handle of your entrenching tool shovel, machete, anything like that. I'll show you some things after. You got your extra removable blanket straps on each side. This would just be so you can make that horseshoe pattern when you need it. And then just like the M1928 haversack and M1910 haversack, they have this little hook down here. Well, I should say, I guess the M1910 does have just the one for the center. So that goes in the bottom of the eyelet at the back of your cartridge belt. So the back of your cartridge belt, there's this little hole here that's really hard to show you. And that goes through there. This is basically make sure it stays low on your back and it doesn't flop up and down, and it stays secured with this little thing. Okay, so why do they call it the dog ear flap? I will show you. Again, this is a reproduction. There's a lot of early models of the dog ear flap from depot that have, these things riveted on instead of sewn on at the depot, which is pretty amazing, rare stuff. I'm sure a few of the guys will have this and watch the video. So these are the dog ear flaps. Simply, they just look like kind of dog ears, and you throw it in there, flap it up, flap it over, and you're nice and secure. That being said, obviously not the most waterproof, expandable system. If you get it up to here and get a lot of items in there, I just have some box stuffers in there to keep this light and easy. Might get wet. That being said, it's not really necessarily waterproof canvas. I think most of this is supposed to end up being cotton duck and things like that. So that's kind of what you had here, and that's where your poncho strap, or sorry, your poncho will go over. These are actually just a pair of civilian grade pants, but they're made out of the same poncho material. I'm doing a horrible job of this, by the way. I'm just simply showing you that it would be a horseshoe shape on the top. Great. And then the big thing that you're going to want to know is the entrenching tool will be going over here. And after this, I'll kind of show you the differences I've noticed in between the depot and the other stock. So right here, you got your M1910 entrenching tool. The M1910 hooks will go up here, and it'll be secured nicely like this. As well as underneath this flap is where you put your poncho and other things rolled up like that. But there's better experts out there than me. Okay, that gives you an idea of that one. That really was the one that was used from, M1941, so pretty much technically 1942 and 43 only. This was the only style available. Yeah, there was like a depot mod, there was some by Boyd, some by Depot. As far as I know, Boyd's the only one that ever made the haversack in addition to the depot, and I'll show you some of those. So as we go along, I believe this one, this is an original and I believe a 2B depot. I've just thrown on an early style longer bayonet there. So that's something. I want to call it the M1907, but I'm probably butchering that, so don't quote me. Sorry, just not thinking straight on the edge blades right now. So this is where the roll top comes in. You can see it right away. It looks like the kind of the end of a balloon, right? It's just this open end. The thing that I think makes it more of a depot are these flat brass pieces. I'll show you after, but the ones that come from Boyd's look like the US Army style, where they're rounded and crimped a little bit more. And everywhere you look, you sort of get that flat buckle again, or flat end. So this one is more of a khaki color, just like the early dog ear flap. So this one was officially called Haversack Model 1941 Modified. A lot of guys just call it roll tops, usually is the best nomenclature for it, or just non-dog ear flap. These I've seen 100% dated 44 and 45, and I'll have one example of that. 43, I'm not sure if they came in. I swear I've seen one somewhere, but really you don't see these a lot in photos, which is kind of shocking in World War II. But they were kind of the Army's equivalent of that M1945 pack system that you really only see in select units and select photos and things like that. Needless to say, I love the roll tops. They're really neat to me. They roll up a lot better. It's got all the exact same hooks, all the exact same everything everywhere. The only thing that's really changing now is the roll top. And sorry if there's a lot of background noise. We're incurring a blizzard right now. I'm here in Canada. I don't know if you can see out that window right there. So a lot of this stuff I've got off eBay and other collectors and things like that. So anyways, let's check out this roll top. So 0 markings inside. I got a US blanket in there, just as a stuffer. And this is where there's 2 things. So you can flap it over like this. You'll see that in photos. Just flapped over, that's fine. But a true roll top is like your modern waterproof bag that you go to the beach with, for example, if you want to go swimming or scuba diving, etc., surfing. You'll actually roll it up like that and then secure it with your straps. And this way it is nicely rolled up and really no water can get in. So when you think about it from a waterproofing standpoint, this is a huge improvement. Also, the extra cargo capacity, I've never seen them maxed out, but you really can max this out to the top and roll it down a little bit if you want. You're going to kind of ruin the ability to use your entrenching tool, unfortunately. And to show you here, I just want to show you examples. You know, by this time this comes in, you're going to get the M1943 shovel. That's going to be more prominently displayed on the backs. And you're also going to still have that hook that they'll go through right there to keep the handle from flipping around. In addition, you're also going to maybe see the M1910 pickaxe on the back, especially with some bar gunners and things like that. You'll see that from time to time with the Marine Corps. Okay. Also, disclaimer: I'm not a Marine Corps expert. There's some great guys out there on Facebook that are. This is one that I'm 100% sure because it's 1945 dated Boyd. And as you can see, the ends are these, the rounded off sort of crimped ones. Again, this is full OD7. The 44 packs I've seen are full OD3, like the one I just showed you. So it looks like the Marine Corps kind of followed in step, just like, I guess, obviously with Boyd making them, again, for the US Army, followed in step with that changeover that the US Army had from OD3 khaki to OD7 green. And this one is probably my nicest marked, a nice US Marine Corps Boyd 45. So, yes, you probably would have never seen this in World War II, maybe later in Okinawa, maybe Iwo Jima. Again, very rare in photos. If you have any photos, I'd love to see them. But this would really be the workhorse of the Marine Corps in the Korean War. So this is really, you know, just like the M1945 system for the Army, this really came into use more in the Korean War, more widespread. Then we're going to go on to what they actually made during the Korean War. And I always say if it was made during the Korean War, it wasn't always used. So again, it's the a weird transitional almost, going back to the transition where it's an OD7, but with OD3 webbing down the sides and the pack straps and everything. There's also slight differences in kind of this webbing that's starting to get used here to hold on the shoulder straps to the bag. Before they really were made out of more of a webbing material. Now they're kind of made of more of like a cotton khaki. This feels more like cotton duck, really getting into more of the Vietnam era feel. Again, this one has squared off ones, which makes me think depot. But that being said, this one is marked, albeit not well, with a very faint marking, which is kind of hard to make out right there. And really, I've never been able to properly make it out, but the ones that I have, see that are good. It kind of says 1950 to 51 or 51, 52 with the maker's name. Mine is way too blurred for that, so I can't really quite make it out enough. So whether that was a depot on the West Coast making those, I'm not sure. Again, there's depot experts out there, there's books and everything. So those are definitely things you would see, you know, going through. And also things like these you end up starting to see in Vietnam. These are 45 dated, but guys would, you know, in the Marine Corps would get their hands on them, even though they're not a Marine Corps item. And you'd start to see them strapped on there, and that would give you extra comfort on your shoulders. And as well, you could throw on some other accessories. So again, you have your larger weapons or utility items. The machete could go on the side, and there's this nice little slide in there that they could slide through. That way they don't keep coming off. That's what that is for, as well as the bayonets. And again, even a later 45 dated one goes through there nicely as well. Not all of them do, depending on the stretch. So let's check into Vietnam. So really, this would have been more early Vietnam. The one before that really would have been more Korean era, even though it's years after they were made, but that would have been the leftover depot stocks and maker stocks that they would have gotten. So this pack, I believe, is dated 67. I'm gonna double check. Again, same setup. Almost all mine are missing the straps for the blankets or the roll. This one is a little bit tougher. It's not stretched out as much, this canvas piece. So realistically, even though it's Vietnam, I can't fit a machete through that opening, believe it or not. The other ones are a little bit older, more stretched. So really what you would have put in there is anybody's guess. You can definitely put an E-tool down the side, E-tool at the front, and that's when you run into the M1961 system. Again, throw it on the top. This is M1961 because it's got the button there. And let's open this up, take a look inside. Again, these are all roll tops. This one is now rounded again, but it is a DSA number. So this was, I don't even know if there was a depot even operating at this time. Okay, so it's actually a little bit earlier than I thought. So it's a DSA 100, which dates me to 1966. And they actually call this, with the official nomenclature, Field Pack Canvas Combat. Field Pack Canvas Combat. So really any nomenclature can go. That's officially what this one was referred to as, which is fine. And now you see it start to differ in nomenclature based on collectors, based on what they called it in the field. The thing that you'll see at the bottom that hangs there is called the knapsack. I don't have any. They are affordable to get. I personally don't have any because unless you're really doing a landing impression or display, That was really the only time you'd see that happening, and that's when you'd see the M1941 suspender system holding everything together, those two sets together. Web Gear Review, that guy has got a really good video that just came out on all these packs as well, and he gives a really good rundown of the pack system and how it all works. And then the final one, which is kind of cool because it's kind of a grail thing for some guys, even though my research, it didn't seem to be very widely used or maybe at all in Vietnam. This is the nylon pack. So this is nylon. From a distance, it almost looks very close to the cotton duck, which I'm guessing this mostly is, canvas, but it's a little bit more vibrant, a lot lighter, more waterproof / I guess it just dries quicker. This one is in, a lot of field repairs happening on it. I tried to take this tape off, but I think it's a little bit frayed underneath, so I'm not going to bother. And again, that's where you see, this webbing getting thinner as well. And as well, these little loops, that's where M1941 suspenders would go through when you hook into the pack system. That being said, absolutely nothing to stop you from using it like an M1956 H suspenders, throwing something like that on there. Again, like I said, guys in Vietnam especially would use those arm pads. Again, these are, funny enough, OD3, but they're dated 45. I also have an OD7 pair that's on another set right now, and you'd slide those on there. And these were always attached just through this loop, and they could be taken off at any time to reattach it to the lower pack. So that's really all of it that I have for you today, all my packs. So again, just to run you through from back to front, the M1941 upper pack, nylon, this one isn't dated, probably came out with the M1967 type gear, so I'd expect like a 67 to 71 data manufacturer. I don't believe any really made it to Vietnam per se, or at least weren't widely used, so that'd be more of a post-Vietnam thing. 66 dated, definitely Vietnam era. 51, 52 dated, Korean War era, but mainly used in Vietnam. Early on, you'll see a lot of that. The transitional webbing, weird again, then you go back to 45, it's full OD7. You'd see a lot of that used in Korea. Great. This one, I'll roll up fully just to show you again. This is actually one of my favorite ones. I don't know why. I think it's just got the right type of patina. So this one is an OD7 with kind of a reverse transitional webbing that you'd see from the Marine Corps Depot a lot with the OD7. Really like light, almost pea green edging and straps there. So that was probably 44 right there, maybe early as 43. Don't quote me on it. And again, this is a reproduction, so don't take it as gospel. Dog ear flap. Again, really the only difference are those ears that are tucked in there instead of having a roll top. And this was the workhorse of the US Marine Corps in World War II for every major battle, except maybe very early on, obviously, when they were still using the M1910 haversack that the Army used. And there was also a US Marine Corps version as well. And just while I have my book open, I might humor you with it, of what it was, because there was an early version of that I'm sure went into it. Okay, there's a perfect picture right there just to show you. I'm gonna go to Web Gear Review. That's how it was used with the lower pack or knapsack with the suspenders crossed over. There was a lot of alternatives here, a lot of experimental pieces. Pack System 1941 is really what the official nomenclature, at least in this book, was. The Marine Corps M1912 haversack, maybe what those were used a lot as well. Very early on, we're talking Wake Island, things like that. Okay, so I hope that helps clear that up a little bit. Just wanted to show you a few Marine Corps items that I've just collected over the last little bit.